Hi, welcome back to CarsAddiction.com. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ryan and we share car-related videos every week. Today we're at Munich and at the headquarters of BMW. We have the iconic 4-piston tower right over here. Next to it is the BMW Museum, which we're gonna tour. And right behind us is BMW World. We are going to tour all the places, but since it's a huge place to cover, that's gonna be part 2 on another video. And there's going to be actually another special place nearby, which I'm going to mention as well, if you ever tend to visit. So let's head into the museum. Now the entrance to the museum is actually 10 euros, not that much. If you present your student card, you get it much cheaper. And if you want to visit the BMW World afterwards, that is free of charge. Now, if you want a tour guide, you can also book that, but you have to book that in advance and not on spot. But if you just come impromptu, it's more than enough. There's plenty to see. So let's head inside and check out what there is. So as soon as we enter, we see this kind of cool exhibition of metallic spheres taking shape to various, formats. It would be a car or something like that. Kind of cool. And to our right is sort of all of the original BMW's first generations. The BMW 315. Now it's kind of strange how this small little car fits 4 people back in the day, but it did. And it's nicknamed the Dixie. Now, if you didn't know already, BMW's logo is of an airplane propeller because they used to make airplane engines. Now, following the pathway, we see this cool wall of motorcycles, and it extends all the way down there. And you get to see them while you walk your way through the museum. Now, this is actually my 4th time over here, and it really seems that they changed some things around. So it's going to be quite interesting visit this time around to see what they have. So over here is, I guess, structural design. We have the BMW, I guess something from the 30s, how they design the chassis and the doors and all that. Then we have something modern. So we have classic and modern contrast to see how everything was built, and that's the M6. And this would be this chassis over here, the BMW 328, which is that car over here. Quite nice looking 2-seater. BMW is into motorsports, so eventually we've got some race cars here, some suits, and a lot of history along the wall. So if you ever want to see what goes on behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car, you can see that air goes into the brakes because they do get hot and they need to be cooled down. The wishbone is made of carbon fiber. Cockpit is very tight and more ducting for brakes. So another random room where we have non-related car stuff. We've got a 1944 BMW 003 jet engine, the 1944 801 propeller engine, another one from 1933, and 1926. Which used to be on a boat plane. And that's not all. We also have engines for boats. So it's 1970s and they're doing boat engines. That's the 220Z. We've got the M10 from the 60s, but that's not a boat engine, that's from a car. And we get to see some race cars now, finally. The 3CSL from 1974, it's a lovely engine. The M49, quite nice. 6-cylinder, I can just imagine the sound coming from this engine. Got an engine from the 1976 BMW Formula One car, I'm guessing. BMW M12 from 1981. You can see that they started to introduce carbon fiber in the intakes for lightweight. It's 1999. You have the P75 V12 engine. Amazing. Some more modern engines. You got the P60 B40 from 2001. As you can see, it actually get more compact but more powerful, so you can see in comparison in just 2 years how they went. And this one was on the M3 GTR. And now we have the P54 B20 on this 320i 2005 race car. Finished in silver carbon. Quite nice. Got the Williams F1 race car, the 2005 engine. Nice. So the museum was built in 1973 and was refurbished in 2010. And every now and then they do update the exhibits. Now, since it's a form of a cereal bowl, that's what I call it, sort of you go in spiral until you get to the bottom, then you go to spiral up until you get where we went in, and there is a gift shop. So I do recommend you wait until the end to get into that gift shop. And over here we have the 1970s BMW lineup. You had the 3 Series, the 5, the 2-door coupe 6 Series, and the 7 Series. And that's the whole lineup for 1970. Very different from what we have today, when the range is at least, I think, 10 or 20 cars. So much variation these days. We are spoiled for choice. Back in the 70s, that is all that they had. Here we have a display of all the badges on all the cars from 1970 to 2010. Comment below if you spot the badge that is on your car. Okay, here we have some advertising from throughout the years. It's quite interesting to see the posters, modern and past. You got the poster of the Z1, poster of the O2, Nice vintage poster from what seems to be 1946. And you got a television going on with adverts from back then. We've got the evolution of the BMW logo, starting from the very first badge in 1917, going all the way up into 2020. So you could see that they changed the font in 1963, and what they seem more or less concise. They still kept the white and blue logo. And we're walking towards to the bottom of the museum. So that is the most bottom floor we've got, and there are some interesting cars. So that's a little preview of what's to come. Before we get there, let's head into some rooms that we have over here. And I'm already seeing something very interesting. That is a must-see exhibit over there. So over here we have the design studio. You could see how they sort of come from computer into real life. This is a clay model. So you could see how various stages of how they apply the clay and take form, sort of make adjustments on the fly. Really not sure what's down over here, but it's kind of hidden, like most of the rooms here. So you have to really keep your eyes out for some hidden rooms here and there. So let's see what we find. And we are not disappointed. Got a 1939 BMW 328. Cool. Some vintage motorcycles. One of my favorite designs, the BMW E9. This is a 3-liter CSI. Really nice, the way it's designed. Got the BMW logo over here in the rear quarter panel. Quite nice. Now, if you are really big BMW enthusiast, you know that the rear windows always finish sort of at that angle, and that's kind of signature of BMW. So you got this, what it seems to be a BMW i8, but it's not. It's actually the concept car of what would be the i8. So it's really interesting to see how it evolved from concept into production. This was actually a 4-seater. The i8, if I'm not mistaken, is only a 2-seater. Correct me in the comments below. But it's really close to the production model we have today. Okay, so we do have a BMW 507 inside here. What's special about that 507 is it used to belong to Elvis while he was stationed in Germany. Now, Elvis liked to paint everything red, including this 507, which used to be red, but they actually restored it and now it's in its original color, white. And this is how the car, how it used to be. Now, a big difference on how it used to be and how it's restored. Now, these are the parts which are original to the car, which didn't make it into the restoration. Yep, quite interesting. Now, opposite of the Elvis 507, we have the Motorsport division. We got the M6 GT3, DTM M3, 320 Group 5 car. We got the Batmobile, the 3-liter CSL Ren Coupe. We got a Z4 GTE and the M4 DTM. Now, from all these cars, I think this one's my favorite. Just look at this dish. Look how big that dish is. It's crazy. Just look how wider they made them from the production cars, just so that they can fit wider tires. Very simple cockpit back then. Obviously, we go to something more modern. Look at all those buttons on the steering wheel. Okay, we're still not even ready. I think we're halfway through. Now we're over here at the M division part, and we get to quickly overglam some art cars. That's what they are. So upstairs there is the BMW 8 Series art car, and these will be the rest. Obviously, like, depending on when you visit, they exchange the exhibit, so you might see something different. This is a nice BMW collection. And there are some cars I actually have. So over here they're depicting their special color range by boot lids or by mirrors. Go figure why they did them like that. And we are greeted by a gorgeous M3 from 1989. All original. It's quite strange that it has two keyholes, one for the alarm, one for the key lock, but that's how they built them back then. And remember what I told you about the windows? All of them have that signature line over there. See them all? That's what they have. And this is where all the M sort of powered cars started from. I know there was the M1, but the M1 was just like very special and very unique and very limited. But that's where they actually started with the M3. And over here we have the M535i. But if you waited 3 years more, you could have bought the actual M5. Now, from the outside, it looks nothing special at all. But you have the luxury, and with that extra power and whatnot, that's what made you buy the M5 back then. Here we have an M3 GTS. These are very rare cars. I'm not sure if they actually mention how much they built on this plaque. No, they don't. Here we have one of my favorite M cars, the Z3M. And it's always been here from all my visits to this museum. It's nice to see that it's still here in lovely Estoril blue. And this would be the engine that would be sitting in that car. Here we have the original M car, the M1 from 1978, and the race car. A lovely 2002 Ti. I guess it has its own space because this was the car of the 60s for BMW. World War II finished. Everyone was starting to get back to normal life and all that. You know, just trying to afford a car and a living. And as you can see, on the roads, you definitely see a BMW in one of those old photos. And there it is. And at the same time period in the 60s, we had this compact car, the Isetta. And believe it or not, it only has one door, or just this in the front. So you open it and the steering rack sort of moves with it. Kind of very futuristic for its time. Very compact. And actually I'm mistaken, this is not from the 60s, it's actually from the 50s. Quite forward thinking. So we have some convertibles here. We have the BMW Z1 in purple. Now, if you know your Z1s, this is the only BMW that has the doors that open downwards. There's advantages and disadvantages. One of the disadvantages is to get into the car because you actually have to lift your foot all the way up. But the advantage is that you don't have to open your door and into another car or something like that, and you could park in tight spaces. You have the BMW 8 Series convertible. I really don't think that they actually made a convertible. I think this is a one-off. I could be mistaken. Please comment below. Did they actually make an 8 Series in production or not? You have a lovely BMW Z8. Nice retro styling and all that. Now, if you notice, the Z8 carries cues from the 507 we've seen earlier in the other room. You have the same style side grille, and steering wheel is like a take of that as well. Another convertible here. You don't see many of these. This is very vintage, and not many of them survived. This would be the 1956 BMW 503. Some other vintage vehicles, they might be worth a fortune these days. So we have 1936 BMW 328. When spare wheels of cars were mounted at the back. Check out this BMW 502 from 1955. Has handles for the rear passengers. 1940 BMW 335. Black on green. This seems to be very original condition. It's kind of weird to see how they used to build cars back then. Completely different from these days. And this is a nice color combo, like sort of a yellow with blue. 1934 315. So you see these slots over here, that would be your side indicator. So the driver would sort of flip this around and it will be left or right depending which way you want to go. You have your wipers, these little tiny wiper blades. And a 4-speed manual gearbox with the handbrake shaped like a joystick of a fighter jet. But very different times on how they used to design cars. So now we are at the bottom of the museum and we're going to start heading upwards, where we're going to see some concept cars of the past, which is always my favorite thing to see. So let's head upstairs and see what there is. So we do have to walk all the way up just to see the last bit of the museum. But I promise you, it is nice. Dakar Rally motorcycles on display here. Some random highway patrol from California motorcycles. Police motorcycles from Italy. Electric bike with a classic BMW motorcycle. So it seems that only motorcycles are up here. Unfortunately, the concept cars are no longer over here. So I'm going to show you pictures of what concept cars here were from my last visit. Some more motorcycles. They really do like to play with their design, either really classic and simple, very complex, or very futuristic. BMW race bike, some helmets, light bulbs, seats, you name it, it will be in here. Well, big part of BMW's business is motorcycles, so it does make sense that they have this on display. Now that's the whole tour of the BMW Museum. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to stay tuned for part 2, where I visit the BMW world opposite of the museum. Thank you for watching. Take care.